welcome to our presentation, Tempo Twister, by me, Teddy.
I'm Jana.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Paige.
This is Project 8, which you would have to make a musical instrument. At first, we were assigned to Project 1, which was a musical prosthesis, but after a while of diverging and converging, it kind of turned into Project 8.
So brainstorming diversion. Diversion is that you think of ideas independently and later you will converge with your team and think of a better new idea. So we're given around 10 minutes to write down the top 3 projects you want to do out of 8. And then we have to write down some skills that may help your team while you do the project. And we also thought of some ideas about the project that you chose. Brainstorming convergent. So we came up as a team, me, Alex, Jana, Teddy, and Paige, and then we wrote down all our ideas in a notebook, and we had a lot of ideas. Some are simple, some are ridiculous, and we followed these questions, as you can see, to pick out the main ideas that we want to do. As blueprints, as you can see in the top left corner, there's a lot of circles. Each circle represents a glass cup. We saw a YouTube video that has a person has a lot of glasses, and whenever he put his hand over the glass, it makes a sound, a note, so he can play a melody out of it. But we thought that was really cool, but we had no idea how to do it. For the one right next to it, it's something to do with a waterfall. Jana came up with this idea, and that's the ridiculous one.
As you saw on the last slide and this slide, these are some of our blueprints. We had many different crazy ideas before we came to what we have to show you today, and these are just a few of them. In the top corner, you can see there's 3 different cylinders with IR sensors on them, and each one would be a different instrument that you could control with your hand.
Okay, so these are our ideas. Our plan A idea would be to use an IR proximity sensor to control how high or how low the pitch or tone would be for a melody. An IR proximity sensor measures the distance in between your hand and the sensor. The sensor can measure anywhere from 10 to 80 centimeters. Our plan B idea would be to use a light connected to a glove on your hand and you would have a photocell or photoresistor which would be on the ground, which would be used to measure how much light or how much shadow is bouncing off of it, and that would control the pitch or tone. And our plan C idea, which is the plan we have now, also uses a photoresistor. We use 2 photoresistors, and one acts like a resistor, and a resistor controls how much flow of energy is going through it. We would have the tempo of a melody, and the tempo would be controlled by the photoresistor depending on how much light or how much shadow is on it.
These are just 3 of our main ideas. We had a lot more, as we mentioned before. And a quote that we were trying to follow throughout our brainstorming process was, if plan A fails, the alphabet has 25 more letters. And personally, I think we used a lot of those letters.
Roles we played. During our whole process, everybody helped with almost everything, which was really nice to see because that helped us work together as a group better. But I helped mainly with a bit of the code, trying to compose a piece that some of our earlier plans could play, and helped come up with a presentation that we're showing you today.
I did mainly the coding, but a lot of them were discarded because we gave up in the middle when there's a problem. And then when we came to our final project, I typed the entire code up, but just before I was going to save it, my computer died, so I had to retype the entire thing again.
My part in the project was I helped with some of the coding, and I did all of the main wiring of our Flora, which is the brain of the project.
I worked with Jana to design the structure and compose a piece for our earlier projects. And Jana also helped keep us all focused because sometimes we'd be off doing I don't even know what, and then Jana would bring us all back down and work on our project.
Okay, so experimenting with tech. We experimented with many different kinds of tech throughout our whole projects, or different ideas, but these are just a few. The first type of tech we experimented with was the IR proximity sensor, which I was telling you guys about earlier. Our second type of tech we experimented with was many resistors, which would either stop the flow of energy completely or slow down the flow of energy completely through the resistor. And our third type of technology we experimented with during our project was multiple photoresistors, which, like I said earlier, would measure how much shadow or how much light was bouncing off of it.
How works the tech? Depending on which photoresistor you put your hand over or shine a light on, the tempo changes, becoming faster or slower. This is caused because the photoresistor acts like a gate to help electricity move in faster or slower. This was when we finally got this to work, we tried to really understand it so we could get it to work, because before then we didn't really understand it, and so it wasn't really working.
We experimented with composing a song on GarageBand for some of our earlier projects to play, and we also experimented with designing a structure for the whole entire project. This was a prototype for one of our earlier projects where we would have 5 photoresistors, and each one, when it was receiving over a certain amount of light, would play one note different than the one right next to it. This is a prototype for our final project that we have right now, and the 2 photoresistors go in here, and then the piezo buzzer sticks out of here. Our material list changed along with our projects, but for our final project today, we have a 3D printed box, a piezo buzzer to play the scale, 2 photoresistors, a flora to control everything, and a battery to power it all.
Problems we faced and solved.
So we're very indecisive in our projects. So we started up with the IR sensor, but we hit a problem. Like, we had no idea, we couldn't use it. We tried to change the code, we couldn't use it, but we didn't really spend a long time on it. We just changed into another project. And then we hit another problem in that other project, we just kept on changing. So we wasted almost 2 days not having any progress in our project. So now with Dr. Hills, we came up with the idea of doing the photoresistors, photocells.
Another problem we faced and solved was a tech and art disagreement. In one of our earlier plans, the tech team was really going up and working really hard, but the art team, we felt, was a little lacking because the art team wasn't doing a really good job of communicating between the tech team and figuring out what exactly we wanted and how we could strengthen our art appeal. When we finally got over it and started to see our group as one cohesive team, it really helped us get to the project we have today.
With the code on our many ideas, with the code we experienced many problems because instead of just copying it from a website or a book, we would have to make it on our own from scratch. And that is a very challenging thing to do. On one of our most recent ideas, we found a code and copied it from a book and lost it, like Alex said, from his computer dying. But on our most recent project, which is the project we have now, we found the code from a website that Dr. Hills pointed us to. And even though we had to tweak the code, we could still get it to work.
Another problem that we had was listening skills. Sometimes we would be trying to present an idea or ask a question to the rest of our team and have a very hard time getting everybody's attention. But eventually we got everyone's attention and everybody's ideas were heard.
Teamwork. Along our road, we learn a lot about teamwork. At the beginning, we thought that our team worked really well together, and we found that though while we did run into a few problems and bumps. One of the things we ran into was that the team wasn't really doing a good job of communicating between each other, and everybody was acting on their own terms, and nobody really knew what everybody else was doing, and so we could therefore not trust them. When we finally learned to trust each other and what everybody else knew how to do, we really became a better team and worked a lot stronger together. Future ideas to expand. We are really pleased with the idea to have today, and we are really glad we learned how to use two photo resistors together. But using this tech, we can now expand on this and use it in other devices. One of the other things we think we can use this for is to help the blind. By putting this piece of tech on the middle of a walking stick, it can sense when a wall is close by as the light gets darker and can play a beep which gets faster the closer you are to a wall. This could help blind people get around more safely and easily. We could also use this piece of technology to help robots get around if they're trying to look for a maze or any other type, or get around a city.
We also want to learn how to use the IR sensor completely because it is much more stable than the photocell. IR sensor tests the distance instead of the light, because if there's no light at all, the photocell won't work. But it doesn't matter with the IR sensor.
This is our commercial.
Please enjoy.
Oh, it's good.
Oh my god, this is so cool. Alex, will you please turn that down? I'm gonna have earphones all day. Okay, fine. Did Daddy give you your earphones? Sure, here's one. This is a tempo twister. Whenever you code right and put a shadow on the right thing here, the tempo will slow down. This is called a photocell. And then whenever you put your finger on the left photocell here, the tempo will go faster. And those two things are called photo resistors, and then measure how much light there is left on. Ooh, cool. How complex! It's great for bringing in film on power rides or on the airplane routes to keep you occupied and straight because there's no hassle with security. That's so cool. I know you want what is it called? The tempo resistors. Oh, cool. Thank you. Bye. Have a fantastic time. Very glad my son gets to play this tempo twister because this saves me hours and hours listening to him complain and whine.
So now for our live demo. We're finished. Everybody listen close because it is quite quiet. So
We just used the basic scale because we haven't put in the melody yet.
As you just heard, it got faster because more light. Now went back to being slow. Now it'll go faster again. There it goes. Now slower.
yay.
Thank you.
And as you guys saw earlier, you saw me take it out of my pocket. Now it's very portable.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was Paige, do you have your iPad? We can
We'll play you.
It was we were going to program it to play our melody instead of just a scale, but we set it on the scale.
And the idea we had was that there would be 2 of these instruments that we were earlier going to create, and each one would change, and you'd have like one play the melody and one play the harmony.